Up not when you're weak, but right after a breakthrough, making you question if you even deserved it. That demon doesn't knock, it lives in the mirror. And the hardest part, it sounds like your voice. That's the demon of disbelief, and its mission is simple: to kill your faith before your faith kills it. It doesn't need to defeat you physically, it just has to convince you to stop trying. But the fact that you're still breathing, still dreaming, still fighting, means it hasn't won. You are not crazy for hearing that voice, you're human. But you're also powerful. And when you decide to speak back, when you declare, I am still standing, the demon loses ground. Every time you choose faith over fear, belief over doubt, purpose over pain, you silence that voice and you remind yourself that you are the gatekeeper of your mind, not the demon. Faith is not an emotion, it's a decision. A battle decision. It's easy to believe when things are going your way. When the doors open, the money flows. The path looks clear. But what about when it all goes quiet? When your prayers hit the ceiling and fall back down? When nothing changes no matter how much you believe? That's when faith stops being a feeling and becomes a fight. A gritty, ugly hands. Shaking, knees buckling kind of war. It's not glamorous. It's not Instagram worthy. It's showing up to life when everything inside of you wants to shut down. It's opening your mouth to declare victory when your heart is full of doubt. You don't always feel strong when you have faith. Sometimes you feel like you're barely holding on. But that's what makes it powerful. Because the enemy doesn't fear your feelings, he fears your fight. He fears the person who keeps standing up. The person who believes through the tears, keeps building through the setbacks, keeps showing up when no one claps. Faith isn't the absence of struggle, it's the refusal to surrender. It's not soft, it's savage. And when you walk by faith, you walk like a warrior. Pain is not your enemy, it's your trainer. The demon that shows up to crush your faith can be the very pressure that builds it. Every time you feel like running, every time it feels too heavy, too dark, too late, that's not your cue to quit, that's your cue to rise. Resistance isn't punishment, it's preparation. Just like a muscle grows through tension, your faith grows through testing. The fire that was sent to destroy you can be the same fire that forges you. But only if you stop running, stop asking if, or the storm to go away, and start asking what is trying to shape in you. You've got to stop fearing the demon and start using it. Let the voice of doubt remind you how badly you want it. Let the struggle stretch you. Let the pain point you. That demon can become your drive if you stop letting it define you. The fact that it's fighting you so hard only proves that what's inside you is powerful enough to scare hell itself. That's why you've got to stop waiting for things to get easier. You weren't built for easy, you were built for impact. Use the weight. Use the fire. Let it fuel the climb. Faith is supposed to be the light in the darkness. It's preached from pulpits and posted in captions. This glowing force that leads a life through life's storms. But what they don't talk about is what happens when the storm doesn't pass. What happens when you're knee-deep in loss, in doubt, in silence. And faith doesn't feel like light, but like weight, like pressure, like a voice inside you demanding that you hold on while everything in your reality screams at you to let go. That's the paradox of faith. It can feel like a lifeline and a torment all at once. Because faith doesn't erase the struggle, it calls you to walk through it. It doesn't silence fear, it dares you to speak hope in the middle of it. That's when faith becomes a demon, not because it's evil, but because it won't let you quit. It haunts you with the possibility that things can still change, even when everything looks dead. And in those moments, the true test begins, not whether you feel faith, but whether you choose to carry it when it feels like it's carrying you through fire. In 2025, we are drowning in information but starving for truth. We scroll endlessly, swipe constantly, and are told what to believe by trends, algorithms, and influencers. Faith doesn't trend. Faith doesn't go viral. It doesn't scream for attention, it whispers in chaos. And in a world where everything has to be proven, measured, calculated, and analyzed, faith feels like rebellion. We're living in a time when uncertainty is met with anxiety, not trust. When people trust data more than destiny. We've traded in the inner conviction for external validation. The noise is deafening, politics dividing us, technology outpacing our humanity, AI replacing human connection, and in the middle of that storm, it feels almost impossible to believe in what you can't see. But that's exactly where faith lives. Not in the comfort of control, but in the courage to surrender. Faith in 2025 isn't soft or poetic, it's gritty. It's raw. It's choosing to stand when your world is shaking and saying, even now I believe. Because when the world says, prove it, faith answers, watch me walk through this fire and not burn. The greatest war you will ever fight is not with the world, it's with yourself. It's not the haters online or the critics in your circle that break you. It's that quiet, persistent voice in your head that knows exactly where to hit. The voice that waits for you in the silence, in the late hours when no one's watching and whispers, you're not enough. That's the real demon. The one that doesn't need to shout because it knows your insecurities by name. It knows your failures, your regrets, your scars. It shows. And faith isn't faith until it moves. Too many people talk about belief but never build anything with it. They pray for rain but never plant seeds. They dream big but never take the first step. Faith is not passive, it's pursuit. It's action in the absence of assurance. You don't wait for the perfect conditions to act, you act until the conditions shift. Faith doesn't need to see the whole staircase, it just takes the first S. Step. You may not know how it's going to work out, but you move anyway. You show up to the gym. You write the plan. You launch the business. You apologize first. You fight for your marriage. You start the healing. Because real faith doesn't just believe God can, it lives like He will. If you truly have faith, your life should look like it. Not because everything's easy, but because you've decided to move, even when you don't see. In 2025, faith can't be just a word, it has to walk. You can't say you have faith and then live like you don't. You can't pray for the breakthrough and then sit on your hands. You can't speak about vision and then never take the first step toward it. Faith is not a wish, it's a walk. You don't get to ask for rain and then leave the umbrella at home. That's not belief, that's contradiction. Real faith moves. It prepares. It expects if you believe the door will open, you better start getting ready to walk through it. If you believe the dream will manifest, you better start building the habits that can handle it. Faith without action is like fire without oxygen. It dies, Beth. Or it can even burn. In this world, talk is cheap and distractions are expensive. So if you say you believe in something, then your action should be screaming it. If you believe you're called to more, why are you still standing in the same place? If you believe healing is coming, why are you still feeding the wounds? Faith is not a moment, it's a movement. Even if you're scared, even if it's dark, even if the ground beneath you feels shaky, you take the step. You show the universe, you show God, and you show yourself that you're not just hoping you're ready. Faith is walking while the map is still drawing itself, trusting that every step forward is one step closer to purpose. In 2025, faith isn't just personal, it's generational. It's legacy. You don't just carry belief for yourself, you carry it for the people watching you, following you, depending on you to break cycles they never could. You've got to understand that your endurance speaks louder than your words. Anybody can post a verse, wear a cross, or talk about faith when things are good, but the real legacy is built in the fire. It's built in how you rise after failing. It's built in how you keep showing up when no one applauds. Your kids, your community, your circle, they're not just listening to what you say, they're watching how you live. Can you still believe when life hits hard? Can you still love when you've been betrayed? Can you still push forward when fear is screaming in your face? That's legacy, that's impact. When you walk through the storm and come out stronger, you don't just survive, you become a blueprint. You show others that faith isn't some soft concept, it's power in motion. It's proof that something greater lives inside you. In a world full of noise and excuses, let your life preach louder than your lips. Let your belief be your banner. Let your struggle become your story. Because when you live faith out loud, you don't just change your life, you give someone else the courage to change theirs. You know what I realized? The demon never shows up at the start of your journey. It waits. It waits until you build something. It waits until the dream is real, until the cost is high. It waits until you're too invested to walk away easily. That's when it speaks. That's when it attacks. Because it's not after your comfort, it's after your calling. It doesn't want your peace, it wants your purpose. And the only way it can touch, that is, if it gets into your mind, if it gets you to doubt, to shrink, to second guess the greatness God already put in your spirit. But let me say this as clear as I can. Just because the demon shows up doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It means you're doing something right. It shows up not because you're weak, but because you're dangerous. That demon wouldn't even speak if you didn't have something worth silencing. You feel like quitting? Good. That means you're in the fight. That means you're close to something. The pressure you feel is the proof of the promise you carry. We are living in a time where everyone wants instant results, instant relief, instant clarity. But the greatest things in life don't come in the moment. They come through the making, through the process, through the pain, through the battles you win in silence. Everyone sees the success, but no one sees the night you wanted to give up. The tears that hit the floor, the days you carried yourself to the next moment with nothing but a mustard seed of faith. But you know, and God knows, and that's enough. This generation is hungry for something real, not filters, not fluff, real. They're tired of speeches with no scars. That's why your story matters. That's why your faith matters. Not the polished version, not the Sunday morning version. The raw, unfiltered, I wanted to give up but didn't version. That's what shakes people. That's what saves people. Not perfection, but perseverance. Not image, but impact. Let's be real, some of you are carrying wounds that nobody knows about. You've been hit over and over and you're still standing. Maybe you didn't climb as fast as others. Maybe you didn't get a spotlight, but you endured. And there's something holy about endurance, something powerful about the one who didn't quit. You might not have had cheerleaders. You might have had every reason to break, but you didn't. And that makes you rare. That makes you unstoppable. Faith is not the absence of storms. It's the strength to keep rowing when the wind is against you. It's the courage to speak life when death is standing in front of you. It's the audacity to plant seeds in a drought. And when you live like that, you're not just surviving, you're leading. You're leaving a mark. Let me ask you something. What if the demon you're facing isn't there to stop you, but to train you? What if the opposition isn't the end of the story, but the beginning of a legacy? Every hero has a moment where they wanted to lay down. Every warrior has scars. Every giant slayer has a history of fear. But they kept going. They kept swinging. And so can you. This is the moment you stop waiting for perfect. Stop waiting for the fear to leave. It won't. You have to move with it. You have to speak with it. You have to rise in spite of it. Stop saying one day. Let today be the day you draw the line, the day you say, I may feel fear, but fear won't make my decisions. I may feel tired, but quitting is not my option. I may hear the demon, but I won't let it lead me. You've got to start talking back. When the demon says you can't eat, you're reminded of everything you've already overcome. When it tells you you're not enough, you tell it about your God, your grit, your growth. When it tells you to run, you plant your feet. Because you've got something inside of you that's unshakable. It's not hype, it's not borrowed, it's not surface level. It's forged. It's tested. It's real. And now more than ever, the world needs your faith to be loud. Not in volume, but in evidence. Let your life preach. Let your work preach. Let your bounce back preach. Let your healing preach. Let your discipline preach. You don't need applause, you need alignment. You don't need followers, you need fire. Don't run from the demon, outlast it. Too many people think freedom comes from escape, but real freedom comes from endurance. Anyone can quit when it gets hard. Anyone can walk away when the pressure hits. But the ones who rise, the ones who change everything, are the ones who stay when it hurts. The ones who plant their feet and say, I will not break. Because the demon doesn't fear your exit, it fears your endurance. It fears your refusal to fold. Every time you stay in the fight, so here you are still breathing, still standing, still fighting, after everything life threw at you. After the silence, the setbacks, the sleepless nights. After the voice of a demon tried to bury you in doubt, you're still here. And that alone is proof of your power. Because the demon of faith doesn't show up to the weak, it shows up to the chosen. It only attacks what threatens it. So if you've been under pressure, if you've been tested, if you've been dragged through hell, it's not because you're losing. It's some. Because you're dangerous. Dangerous to fear. Dangerous to limitation. Dangerous to everything that wants you to settle for less than what you were born to become. Don't you dare give up now. Don't you dare listen to the lie that says you're not enough. You've come too far. You've survived too much. You've got too much purpose in your breath to fold. Faith is not a fantasy, it's your fire. And when the demon rises again, and it will stand taller, let it see the unshakable force you've become. You are not just a survivor, you are a storm. You are a warrior. You are the proof that faith still works in 2025. And no demon in hell can stop what God put inside you. Keep rising, keep believing, keep winning. Your fight is not in vain. The tears, the silence, the waiting, it's all part of the making. So stop asking if you're good enough. Stop wondering if it's too late. As long as there's breath in your body, there's a battle to win. There's a mountain to climb. There's a purpose to walk out. Look that demon in the face, smile, and say, you should have stopped me when you had the chance, because now I know who I am. Now I know what I carry, and now I know that nothing sent against me will prosper. I've been through too much. I've cried too hard. I've grown too deep to break now.